The French Revolution, Part 7. The Convening of the Estates General. Something that I failed to mention in the prior video that I should probably bring up now is that all the things we talked about in the last video took almost 10 years to happen. One of the things that I think is really interesting about the French Revolution is how it is almost like this slow-moving train, like a series of awkward silences, and then something will explode, and then there'll be another series of awkward and then explode, which each explosion is bigger than the last until it just erupts into pure chaos. So it's May of 1789 when the Estates General is finally actually called to convene for the first time in like 150 years. And the people who are called to come and serve in the Estates General are called deputies. And each district of France elects deputies from each of the estates. So the deputies all make their way to Versailles. And once everybody is gathered, before they jump into any of the business at hand, they first have to deal with regular administrative procedures of assemblies such as this. They have to agree on things like the proper matters of decorum, and one really important issue, which is how the estates voting will take place. Now, I discussed in my video about the Estates General that the voting traditionally takes place in such a way that each estate registers one vote. But this time, the Third Estate, now being enlightened, says they're not having it. And a debate immediately breaks out about this voting business. By June the 19th of 1789, the Estates General has now been engaged in an argument about this voting business for basically a month. On June the 20th, the deputies of the Third Estate show up as usual at the Assembly Hall to continue hashing out this argument over the vote. Only when they arrive, they find the door to their meeting room is locked. And it is at this point that the deputies of the Third Estate finally say, to hell with this. So this group of individuals representing different regions and different socioeconomic classes of France, but who are all in the Third Estate, decide to find themselves another place to meet. And nearby, they find a handball court, which is kind of like a racquetball court, but they would have referred to it as a tennis court. So this is some grassroots startup shit, right? Like they pull in a table onto the court. Probably somebody had to take down a net. This is not a place for meeting, but they're gonna sit down and they're gonna start hashing out what the government of France should actually look like. Now we get another stunning look at the complete incompetence of Louis XVI as a king. His job is to practice absolute monarchy, and he's not good at it. Because rather than immediately round these guys up and do something about the fact that they have decided to leave this formal assembly and go form apparently their own government, he doesn't do anything to round them up. He has no reaction. And he doesn't do anything because he's nervous that if he does something, it'll cause a bigger problem. So for the moment, he just chooses to do nothing. And given that the king does absolutely nothing about it, the deputies of the Third Estate, who have now broken off onto the tennis court to have a meeting of their own, just keep doing what they were doing. And it isn't long before a few members of the clergy join them as well. And it is at this point that they say, look, we have gained momentum. The king fears us. He isn't stopping us. Members of the clergy have joined us. We now declare ourselves France's new National Assembly. Everyone in the room swears to stay there and hash out the new governance for France in what is called the tennis court oath. Unfortunately, there is no live stream available. However, there is a depiction of the event painted by my favorite painter, Jacques-Louis David, the tennis court oath. That's a good stopping place for part 7. Join me for part 8, where we'll tear down a prison and start putting people's heads on pikes. It's getting real. See you soon.